Good evening, everybody. I've come in and I've lit the stove, and I've lit the stove in the kitchen because I'm feeling quite cold. I'm absolutely whacked. I'm exhausted. But I thought I'll just make a quick video and show you what I've been up to today. Besides which, Jack is still outside. So, I'll take you on a quick tour. Oh. And he's out here on his big king-size feather duvet. It's a dog's life, isn't it, Jack? Not. So, I've been working over by the compost heap. As you can see, it's been a beautiful day. I think it's about getting on for 6 o'clock now, but the sun's still high. Birds are still singing, bees are buzzing. Seen a couple of butterflies today as well, which has been lovely. So I'll try to remember to move slowly. So my idea for a little pathway going literally from the tunnel to the steps that lead down to the fairy wood, I'm sort of embracing that. And so what I've done, I've looked around for any plants that were kind of pot bound that I could make this little pathway with. So you can see here this blue pot had the mahogany in it, and that was round by the west gable of the cottage. So what I've done, I'm beginning to move the compost heap, but I'm going to have a sort of a bank here as well, so I'm going to use the compost with some of it. So I've planted the mahogany there. This is the new compost area, and I've also planted this pot-bound birch tree, and this was left up to me. This was a gift. So I've got 2 plants in there now already. I'm going to put another 1, 2, possibly 3. So the entrance then is going to be fairly narrow. I've been to the recycling centre today in Boyle. I've taken another load of stuff. I've got a few bits and pieces now left here to move over to the top of the driveway, ready for taking to the recycling. I think it's open again on Monday. I know it's open, I think, 3 or 4 days a week. So that's an ongoing task. I also got a Mother's Day gift from one of my daughters in the form of a lovely, I'll show you, I'll bring you over and show. A Boston ivy, because I have this idea of plants growing right up the walls of the cottage, because of course plants on the walls of the cottage equals insulation, and as long as the render on the wall is quite solid, that's actually a good move. So I've got a wheelbarrow load of compost here. And where the blue pot with the mahogany in was standing just underneath the kitchen window, I've dug a hole there, and I've backfilled it with some compost, and I've put the Boston ivy in. So you can see I've got a little bit more stuff here to take. This is just in the form of mostly metal. Okay. So I've got this plant in, so I'll be filling that up now with compost, and then taking the little ties off the Boston ivy. There's a few other plants now which are beginning to make their way up the walls. One is this variegated ivy, which is lovely because that's going to help give a little bit of stabilisation to this plant here. I'm trying to think of the name of it. I can't think of the name of it. This grows 40 feet, up to 40 feet in length. So you can see this is where it is here. And look, it's going right up here. See? And round. So the Boston ivy is really going to work well there. That should go up, and then I'll take it both ways up round the window. And then up here there's another little, I think it's a Boston ivy, I'm not too sure, I think it is actually. This one here, which is beginning just to bud. You can see the little buds on it there. So that should go up the wall. And then the cotoneasters, these were part of window boxes from someone's house that were given to me. So very happy that I've got this far, because of course it's required a huge amount of work, including going to the recycling centre today. So as usual, I'm kind of multitasking. I've got some plants here now to put in the ground. I have another oak tree which is going to go in the ground. And looking up this way then, the witch hazel that my daughter bought for me last, I think it was October, my birthday, that's doing really well in here. I've planted that in here. You can see all the lovely new buds in it. And also the pieris, which I put into this pot because it does like to have acid soil, so it's quite specific. That's now budding and flowering and looking great, so I'm pleased with that too. So, that's some major work done today. I mean, I think just getting plants settled in over by the old compost heap bodes well, because it means that task is sort of in place now. It's going to require just a little bit of sort of manicuring, but other than that it's done. Now another thing I have to do at some point is to take this mahonia, which is, sorry, not mahonia, is it mahonia? No, it's not. What is it? Magnolia. I knew it was something olea. This is magnolia, and it's flowering. But this, of course, needs to have acid soil as well. So I have to find a spot for this. And it also likes to be pretty sheltered. So I'll have to put my thinking cap on for this one. Masses of little ash trees coming up. Can you see them over there? So I'm still potting on trees. My Kelly kettle has served me well. I've been making tea and coffee with that. You can hear all the bees. So I've also been working over here. This area, just leading off here to the right, is my little storage area where I store things to be recycled. So I've been working in there, tidying that up, and also just beginning to cut back the little bit of hedge there. So all that's been worked on, and cutting back this as well. Such a beautiful evening. Look at the blue in that sky. I think I may have to cut back some of this pyracantha. You know, I'm continually walking the paths and looking to see what needs to be done and trying to keep abreast of things, that nothing gets too overgrown. I mean, I never expected, when I started this project, I never expected things to grow like this. There's just so much abundance. It's very difficult, very hard to keep up with. I mean, this is just one little cutting of box. And I mean, look at it. It's gone crazy. Lots of flowers now coming out on the blackcurrant. And also lots of flowers coming out on the red currant. So you can see here. Again, I have to give this a good cut back after it's flowered. And I'll show you the apple blossom because that's making great progress. See there? I think there's little bits of it just starting to peep out. It's certainly, there's a good promise of a really good harvest of apples. And the blossom is beginning to open up on this little ornamental apple tree. And there's blossom on the little cherry tree. And big surprise on this one. So it seems that my patience with this little tree is paid off. And the compost, of course. Now I've got to show you what's happening in the tunnel, because there's been a massive breakout of blossom on the white clematis. There we go. Isn't that beautiful? And it's scented as well. And I've forgotten the name of it, but it is an evergreen clematis. And then the roses on this rose bush, I think it's a rambling rose, they're white, they're going to be white. And I've also put some honeysuckle in amongst that. And now before I go, I want to show you the cherry blossom. around the front of the cottage on the cherry tree that I brought in a coffee cup from London, because there's some beautiful blossom on that. And also I've noticed these poles that I put in the ground, I think they're hazel, they seem to be rooted. I'm a bit surprised. I wasn't expecting that. Little buds coming out. Now whether that's just the moisture in them or not, I don't know. We shall see. It's lovely to see the sun back though like this, you know, where you have these sunny evenings. So here's a little tree's come up in the gravel and I'm just going to leave it there. It's a little fairy thorn. I'll just leave it there. There's my beautiful goddess. And you can see all the onions beginning to come up. Now my big pot of cut and come again salads that I had on the go since last, was it October? Something like that. I literally emptied that just into the middle there. I literally just emptied it in. I didn't even bother, you know, fishing it in or anything like that. I just thought, put it in there and just leave it. So it seems to have embraced its newfound position. And look at this, little bits of willow that were part of the, look. Look at this, and this is fuchsia. Look. You know my chippings? Look at that. I'll have to watch that bed. There'll be all kinds of things coming up in it. But look at the magnificent cherry. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that just spectacular? Look at that. Now there's a big piece of willow growing up that way, which I'll have to take out at some point quite soon. Everything is so vigorous. And that's not a complaint. So it's amazing just how quickly everything is coming back into life. Now my big standing stone down there has disappeared amid the shrubbery. So I think tomorrow I'll have to get down there and actually cut back a lot of that. Forsythia is taken well in there. I put quite a bit of forsythia in, hither and thither, and it's all doing rather well. So I shall leave you just with this image of the front of the cottage. Have a lovely evening, everyone. I'm going to go in now and have a second cup of tea because I really am exhausted in a nice way. Blessings to you all.